Let's examine what using Windows XP now means for you and your business with end of service upon us. And we'll begin by facing the full reality and all the truth and all the facts about the end of support for Windows XP. On April the 8th, all support from Microsoft for Windows XP and for Office 2003, if you're using that, comes to an end. Or, if you're watching the repeat on Dave, came to an end. Now, XP is now 13 years old, and a lot has changed in 13 years. Who had one of these old Nokias? I bet you did. Put your hands up if you had one. Put your hands up if you got one of the new Nokias. On the desktop, much has changed as well. Look at an old PC from 2001, an old beige box, and a shiny new Surface Pro here on the right. So much has changed in 13 years. So, with a 13-year-old operating system, what does end of service actually mean? Well, Windows XP is still going to run. Nothing's going to stop it from running, but Microsoft aren't going to be producing any more security patches, any more upgrades, any more malware support for it. Not at all. Microsoft Security Essentials, the free antivirus package from Microsoft, will no longer be downloadable. Your PC and the PCs around you are going to become extremely vulnerable to virus and hacker and other attacks. And even if you have a fully patched and protected computer, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be protected into the future. Don't forget that patches and updates for Windows XP are still being released right up until that end of service date. That means vulnerabilities are still being found. You may also have XP systems that don't have any antivirus protection on them. That's even more vulnerable. We've had 12 years of patches for Windows XP. But as I say, it doesn't make it secure. Vulnerabilities are still being found. Patches have been released right up until the April the 8th final deadline. And worse, and this is something you may not know, that patches and updates for other versions of Windows, notably at the moment Windows Server 2003, for which support doesn't end until April 2015, these patches will be reverse engineered. They're going to want to see what's in them and what parts of the operating system they affect. Then they're going to see if the same vulnerability exists in Windows XP. And if it does, there's no protection against it. Around us, we've got government departments, we've got banks, we've got all sorts of big establishments and companies still using XP, not able to get off it, not willing to get off it. Here we have a news story about the British government and the NHS, that they're desperate to get continued support from Microsoft. It's going to cost millions. And is it a guarantee of security? No, it's no guarantee, because Windows XP is inherently vulnerable. It doesn't have all the additional security features of Vista, Windows 7 and Windows 8. And they can't be backported to Windows XP either, because the architecture underneath is fundamentally different. It really is just vulnerable. So if it's that vulnerable, how do you feel about all your medical records on the NHS, all your government data from the tax office and many other types of government, from local council upwards? How do you feel about this still being stored and accessed on computers running Windows XP? Worse, how would your customers feel? So many major companies are attacked. Here we have a story about Windows Server 2003, the same underlying architecture as Windows XP. How these systems are constantly attacked by hackers, how they're vulnerable, how personal data and personal information on millions of people is being stolen. The personal information that you cannot substitute. Things like your date of birth, your mother's maiden name. You can't change these things, but they're always asked for as security questions. So how would your customers feel if they found out that your business was still running Windows XP? There's also the question of legal liability. There are data protection laws, and there are other laws that have heavy fines, that have substantial penalties, and can even result in imprisonment for people, for company executives and senior people. Are you vulnerable to this? If your company loses data because it's on, say, a laptop running Windows XP, or the computers in your office are running Windows XP, and somebody gets in through one of those computers, through a hack attack, or tricking a user, or through something like an infected USB flash drive, are you ready to face those penalties and those consequences? Because they're only going to get worse year on year on year. And the EU is going to make them even tougher. But what can we do? Well, let's have a look at a modern operating system. Let's have a look at what we've got in Windows right now, and how Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 can benefit you. First of all, we've got support running up until 2023. And this is the same support that you've been getting for Windows XP, just extended. These operating systems are newer. Their support periods run for a lot longer. If you want to switch to Windows 7, then you've got until January 2020 to carry on using it without having to worry. So end of service is a good thing. It's a good thing for you. It's a good thing for your business. It's a good thing for the people who work in your business. It's a good thing for the IT support department. There aren't any more programs or any more apps that have to be run as an administrator because they were sloppily coded in order to create workarounds that made it easier for the programmers to create those programs quickly. There are no reasons for local admin privilege just to change things like the time zone or the power settings or other simple settings that the user wants to change on the computer. And there's more protection all the way through the operating system, with all the way from user account control up to sandboxed apps. So let's have a look now at some of the benefits for the end user, because we've been talking about them a lot. User account control. Now, this is the first thing I mentioned earlier. It's the underlying security system on the PC, and it helps keep the PC safe. It helps alert the user when they're doing something risky. And it can also prevent them from doing something risky at all. The Action Center will tell users about potential issues with the PC, such as not having any malware cover or troubleshooting and another help and support issues. We've got Windows Defender to guard the PC against malware, or Windows Security Essentials on Windows 7. There's an advanced firewall, a highly advanced and highly configurable firewall in both Windows 7 and Windows 8. There's in-private internet browsing, so that websites cannot keep tracking data for what the user's doing. Particularly good for hunting for Christmas and birthday presents. There's Windows Easy Transfer, allowing you to upgrade easily from Windows XP because you can port in all your user files and all your data. Internet Explorer has new security features such as protected mode and smart screen, keeping the user safe even more when they're online. There's 64-bit computing. Windows XP did have a 64-bit version for a while. It doesn't have it anymore. 64-bit computing allows you to take advantage of larger amounts of memory. to have more running on the desktop, to have larger spreadsheets, to edit and work with complicated videos and higher megapixel photos. There's the Problem Steps Recorder. This is a fantastic little tool. Just search for it in the Windows 7 or Windows 8 menus search systems for PSR. And it records everything that goes on the screen, it annotates it, sends it as a little zip file to a support person or to someone that you're trying to show how to do a task.
Do you ever need to show somebody how to accomplish tasks in Windows? In this video we're going to show you how to do the same task in Windows XP versus Windows 8.1. In this example we have a problem in Device Manager we want to show somebody how to fix. So in Windows we'll go into Control Panel, Performance and Maintenance, System, click on Hardware, and then go to Device Manager. And here we can see a problem with our network adapter. So what we're going to do is take a print screen by clicking the print screen button on the keyboard and then paste that into WordPad. We've now got our first screenshot. If we go back into Device Manager, we can show the user how we would go about enabling the device. We'll click print screen, go back into WordPad, we can paste in that second step as well. That's our second thing. And from there we can then save it and maybe email the file to someone to show them what we did. But let's have a look at how we do that in Windows 8.1. On the Start button, we'll press that, type PSR to open up Problem Steps Recorder. And all we need to do is just hit Start Record. If we then go onto the Start button, start typing Device Manager, we can see our problem adapter, simply right click it, apply the fix, and then press Stop Record. Problem Steps Recorder has actually put it into a document for me, highlighting the items as I've pressed them or as I've typed them, showing the user exactly what's been done. And from there I can create a zip file and save it and email it to the user.
There's the snipping tool built in for screenshots, or in Windows 8 you can hold down the Windows key and press print screen and it'll take a full screenshot and save it for you. There's support for Office 365 and Microsoft's OneDrive service for cloud synchronization and backup for your files, and for working on your files in the cloud when you're away from the office with Office Online. There's support for biometrics, fingerprints, iris scanners, facial recognition and more. And new biometric systems are being developed all the time, all of which keep the computer safe. And these are stored in a trusted platform module, a TPM chip on the motherboard. All Windows 8 computers have this now. All new Windows 8 computers will come with a TPM chip that can store this information. There's a network troubleshooter. How many times have you not been able to get online and it's just frustrating because online is where we live? Well, the network troubleshooter solves many of these problems in Windows 7 and Windows 8. There's support for super fast Wi-Fi speeds and 4G. There's system image backup and restore options, such as the really easy, simple refresh and reset. So simple that even a baby could reset your tablet. Technically. There's startup repair, which will run automatically if the PC fails to start 3 times, and it'll do what it can to fix that startup. And if it can't fix it, it gives you additional options to guide you through getting working as quickly as you can. There's Secure Boot, which can stop rootkits and other malware from infecting your computer. And there's full device encryption using Microsoft's BitLocker security system. So if you have a laptop or a tablet and it's lost, you don't need to worry about people being able to get that data. For as long as it's password protected, you're fine. What about business and enterprise benefits? Well, BitLocker and BitLocker to Go I've just mentioned, but BitLocker to Go enables you to securely encrypt USB flash drives, external hard drives. There's the application compatibility toolkit to help make sure that all of your legacy programs that you relied on in Windows XP can work. There are features like AppLocker, There's virtual private network security. There's new versions of PowerShell. PowerShell really is where it's at. If you want to be able to do anything to configure a PC in the enterprise, PowerShell is what you need to do it with. There's virtualization support with Hyper-V. There's support from booting from a virtual hard disk. You can create virtual hard disks on your system. The resource monitor will show you what's using what on the system. It'll help you keep your computer under control. Reliability history will detail for you what's gone wrong, why it's gone wrong, and when it's gone wrong, so that you can track problems. Deployment is much, much easier than it's ever been before. And back with security and encryption, there's full support for smart cards baked in to the operating system. There's also big productivity gains that can be had from using Windows 7 or Windows 8 over Windows XP. Let's have a look at one of these now. Many people find that reviewing two websites side by side or working on two documents side by side can really help productivity. So let's have a look at how we do this in Windows XP and Windows 8. Here we've got Windows XP on the left and Windows 8 on the right, and it's already finished in Windows 8 before I could finish saying that. So let's have a look at Windows 7, because lots of people still use that, and we're done in Windows 7 as well. XP is still going. So let's have a look at Windows 7 again in slow motion. We'll review that smooth action. Look at that, snapping those windows to the left and right of the screen. Amazing. Is Windows XP done? Almost, and Windows XP is finished. There are all sorts of ways to be productive. Desktop Snap, we've just seen. You can share between different apps really easily and really simply. The new Workplace Join and Work Folders features in Windows 8 allow bring your own devices to be used in the workplace securely without the IT department having too much of a headache. There's mobile tethering up to 4G LTE speeds. Different scaling options for multi-monitor setups, and so many people use multiple monitors at work. There's support for Miracast, so that you can send a video and an audio picture remotely to a compatible TV or projector. You don't need cables and wires for it anymore. There's support for Wi-Fi Direct and NFC printing, so you can just tap a laptop or a tablet to a compatible printer and it'll just pair and print. There's Instant Go, which can help Windows 8 systems start up resume from sleep in less than 300 milliseconds. There's gesture control. There's all manner of technologies based on Microsoft's Kinect system that are baked into Windows 8, ready for people to use them. And again, there's full integration with SkyDrive, Microsoft's OneDrive, Office 365.